Good afternoon. My name is Monica Villalobos, and I serve as President and CEO of your Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome all of you to our 2022 Virtual Business Diversity Summit, brought to you by the Arizona Minority Business Development Agency Center, operated by our very own chamber. We'd like to thank Raza Development Fund for their efforts and support in this year's summit. We are also quite fortunate to have great community partners with which to collaborate. And of course, our Los Amigos corporate investors who support us all year long to bring resources and tools to help minority-owned businesses grow and prosper in Arizona. If you've attended this event before, you know that this event brings together a wide range of business leaders and professionals committed to diversity in hiring, advancement, and leading the way in providing goods and services to many of Arizona's largest companies. Although this year's event is virtual once again, the goal remains the same: to encourage diversity and continue to grow our economy, one business at a time. Since the late 90s, we have operated the Arizona MBDA Center, funded by the U.S. Department of Commerce. We're measured primarily on three things: access to contracts, access to financing, and job creation. Despite the pandemic these last couple of years, this center exceeded goals, delivering over $100 million in contracts and financing and creating or retaining over 1,000 jobs, making it one of the top performing centers of all 26 across the country. The Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce was also selected last year for another 5-year cycle to operate the center with a $2 million grant. Front and center is the executive director of the Arizona MBDA Business Center, Alika Kumar. With her leadership over the last 16 years, we have been able to secure other grants from MBDA, including our Nebedsi Center, run by Karen Lynn Graves, to serve American Indian, Alaska Native, and Native Hawaiian communities in Arizona, Nevada, and Utah. Before I hand it over to Alika, I'd like to thank her for all of her years of service.
Monica, thank you so very much. You're an inspirational leader. Your fearless leadership led the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce through the pandemic easily, and while we did our best work yet. Over the last couple of years, despite the setbacks and impediments, all the Chamber's business units have given it their all and with greater commitment made a difference for the community we serve. Thank you so much for your exemplary leadership. After the bipartisan infrastructure bill was passed last year on November the 15th, 2021, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, Gina M. Raimondo, announced that the Minority Business Development Agency, or MBDA, is now made permanent and will be expanded and elevated. On August 8th, it was announced that the Senate unanimously confirmed Donald J. Cravens as the first Undersecretary for MBDA. He is a former lawmaker from Louisiana. We're excited to have him lead us. MBDA is the only federal agency solely dedicated to the growth and global competitiveness of minority-owned businesses. We are very excited as this will allow the agency to increase their programs and outreach to the nation's more than 9 million minority-owned businesses. MBDA funds Arizona centers like ours throughout the country, playing a pivotal role in the growth and competitiveness of minority-owned businesses. We look forward to progress being made at a faster pace towards reducing enduring racial disparities that have impaired the ability of minority-owned businesses to access capital and business opportunities. This year marks the 25th year that the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has had the privilege of operating an MBDA Business Center. I have had the fortune of playing a role in it for the 70% of that time, so about 18 years now. Here at the Arizona MBDA Business Center, we are passionate about serving minority-owned business firms and providing advanced business consulting services that facilitate business development, capacity building, and penetration into new markets. This year, we will be giving particular emphasis to preparing MBEs for federal infrastructure contracting opportunities. In the last 5 years, we facilitated the creation and retention of over 3,500 jobs, served over 500 MBEs, and facilitated over 470 million in transactions for our clients. We thank MBDA for the opportunity to serve. We owe our success to the collaborative and equitable local business ecosystem in which we work. Many thanks to our community partners. That includes cities, prime business partners, government agencies, various chambers of commerce, trade associations, and other service providers, without whom we could not achieve as much. I also thank my team, Yvette Uriondo and Vanessa Castillo-Bell, for the work they have done to help us achieve our goals. With renewed encouragement, we are here to celebrate 4 minority-owned firms and a champion of minority-owned businesses that illuminate what exceptional results can be accomplished with determination and a little bit of help. Next, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you today Mr. Miguel Estienne, Acting National Director and National Deputy Director of the Minority Business Development Agency. Mr. Estienne is a strategist and a skilled operator who applies technical expertise in finance, general management, and business development to effectively lead across cross-functional teams towards fulfilling ambitious goals. His career started 20 years ago with GE's management programs in corporate finance. Some of his notable roles were being a VP of strategy for GE Commercial Finance, managing director for the working capital lending business of GE Capital in Mexico, and then director of mergers and acquisitions for GE Capital Americas. He holds an MBA from Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Business, an MS in International Affairs from Georgetown University, where he obtained an honorary certification in International Business Diplomacy, and a BS in Finance from the University of Puerto Rico, where he graduated magna cum laude. Miguel is also a Six Sigma Green Belt. Mr. Estienne, his wife, 2 kids, reside in Washington, D.C. Please help me welcome Mr. Miguel Estienne.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Estienne, and I'm the Acting National Director for the Minority Business Development Agency. Let me first express my gratitude to Alika Kumar, her team, and the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. And thank you for your continued leadership of the Arizona MBDA Business Center. The MBDA has a long and rewarding relationship with the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, who plays a major role in serving minority businesses in Arizona and across the Southwest. In fact, this year marks 25 years since the opening of the MBDA Arizona Business Center back in 1997. We're excited to continue our relationship with the Chamber, who I am very pleased once again was awarded a 5-year grant last year to continue operating the Arizona Business Center. I'm also grateful the Chamber is still one of our leading operators, especially as the MBDA begins to evolve as an agency. For those who are not aware, last November, President Biden signed into law the Minority Business Development Act. This act expands MBDA's authority, influence, and resources to serve the nation's 9.7 million minority business enterprises, also known as MBEs. For the first time in the agency's history, the MBDA is now a permanent agency with a mandate not only to expand our services, but to also promote business equity on a systematic level. And we are very excited. Donald Cravens was nominated by President Biden as the first ever Undersecretary for Minority Business Development. This is just a great accomplishment for the MBDA and for the country. With permanent leadership and expanded authority, the MBDA will play a more pivotal role shaping America's business ecosystem. The MBDA's mission under this act is to create a stronger, more equitable economy for businesses minority-owned across the country. At the heart of that mission is solving the greatest challenges for MBEs, increasing access to capital, access to contracts, and access to markets. Increasing access on a systematic level is only possible with participation from both the public sector and the private sector. That is why I would like to express my gratitude to the businesses being inducted today into the Arizona $1 Million Circle of Excellence. These companies, who spend at least $1 million in procurement with minority and woman-owned suppliers, understand that diversity makes our economy stronger. Increasing access to contracts is key to closing the poverty gap between minority and non-minority businesses. In fact, closing the gap will add nearly $6 trillion to the nation's economy. To put it more simply, diversity is good for business. Companies with diverse supply chains and procurement practices access new markets, strengthening local economies, and just make more money. So thank you again to those companies for doing your part. And thank you to the Hispanic Chamber, who is a key operator in our MBDA network, a network that helped MBEs secure more than $2 billion in contracts this last fiscal 2021. I encourage all minority entrepreneurs, procurement executives, community leaders, industry leaders to use the MBDA and the Hispanic Chamber as a resource to grow your business, connect with MBEs, and engage with the minority business community. Because we are stronger when we work together, and our country is stronger when minority-owned businesses succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Estienne. The Arizona MBDA Business Center's Minority Enterprise Awards celebrate the outstanding achievements of minority entrepreneurs that have demonstrated their commitment to excellence and business growth. Today, you will meet outstanding minority businesses that have developed and implemented innovative solutions that promote business continuity and the ability to thrive through the challenges. But before I introduce the MBDA award winners, I'd like to recognize a few of the inductees into the $1 Million Circle of Excellence: Ames Construction, the Arizona Department of Transportation, the Arizona Public Service, Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport's Aviation Department, Cox Communications, DAP Construction Management, and Freeport McMoran. Our first award goes to the 2022 Minority Health Products and Services Firm of the Year, Peptinio LLC, led by Sheldon Jordan. This award is presented to a minority-owned firm that has improved the quality and delivery of healthcare through innovation. While Peptinio LLC serves the aerospace and defense markets, we are recognizing today their work in health services. Peptinio's experts have supported leading research institutions in the areas of biomedical research, health science studies, and related project management. Peptinio is enabling consumer access to healthcare solutions online. Currently, the digital platform embraces at-home rapid testing that is convenient and accurate, with plans to support modern telehealth requirements. Let's meet Sheldon Jordan.
This is an absolute honor for Peptinio. Our team has worked really hard. We're excited. Certainly, it reflects, all of the hard work that we've done, and we are just very appreciative of what MBDA has done for us. For us, MBDA has assisted us in several ways. First, with opportunities to access capital. One of the things that I really have also liked is the introductions to larger contract opportunities. We're still a small business. We are looking at, trying to grow and build a sustainable business, but being able to have those connections to be introduced to other businesses has been something that I think that we've benefited by. Some of the other things would include support via training. Even as somebody who's like myself is coming from a larger corporate environment, when you're a small business, you wear many hats, and having access to folks that have those skill sets has been a real benefit. I think the other thing that I would probably try to highlight would be like access to business tools. There are a number of different things that MBDA provides in terms of helping you manage your business, and also things to think about, just to kind of keep you on track, keep you focused on your business. And I think last but not least, because of those things, MBDA has also helped us to establish a presence in Arizona. And we are planning a major push in several areas across the state.
Congratulations, Sheldon. We're very proud of you. Our next awardee is the 2022 Minority Emerging Technology and Industries Firm of the Year. Cubotica Inc. with President Mahesh Vinayakam. This award is presented to a minority-owned firm that has achieved outstanding success in high-growth industries through the utilization and delivery of services based on new technologies. Cubotica is a pioneering enterprise establishing their automation journey towards artificial intelligence. By providing expertise, a high level of service, and significant cost-saving solutions, Cubotica creates an automation ecosystem for enterprises with their product Document, where FRPA and AI become enabled to process and automate both structured and institutional documents. Cubotica's goal is to enable companies to empower the future of their workforce and build viable, scalable, and sustainable automation ecosystems.
It's quite exciting. We're a young firm, so this recognition coming from such a prestigious unit like yours is obviously very fulfilling as an entrepreneur. So thank you. So anybody that I talked from the center, each one of them is really service oriented. They're extremely talented. These are not like folks that are just paying lip service, just being nice. Okay, I'm using some government funds. I'm just kind of here to tick some boxes and be nice. No, I've never seen that. I've seen from this center, all those folks, despite being so nice, they take their job very seriously, and you come in with some tremendous background, have a really good understanding of what small businesses need. So we're obviously one of the top 2,000 fastest growing companies in the US, the top 50 growing companies in Arizona, and we kind of grew from no headcount in 2017 to about, I would say, 100 people all over the world. Right here in Arizona, we are about 25. Actually, in the US, we have about 25 full-time employees, and that's kind of where our strengths are at this point.
Congratulations, Mahesh, and to all at Cubotica. With great pleasure, I recognize the 2022 Minority Professional Services Firm of the Year, ClearCloud Solutions, Incorporated, led by Darren Maston. The award is presented to a minority-owned firm that has achieved outstanding success in professional, scientific, and/or technical services. ClearCloud Solutions is a full-service security system integration and electrical contracting company based out of Southern California. ClearCloud Solutions team brings the best-in-class level of systems knowledge and technical expertise, specializing in protecting critical assets in sectors such as utilities, government, education, healthcare, financial, retail, commercial, gaming, and transportation. ClearCloud Solutions provides cutting-edge security systems, design, build, sales, and installation to the industrial, commercial, public, and federal arenas. Let's meet Darren Maston.
We're extremely honored for the recognition. And we're certainly honored to represent such a fine office, truly are. Well, the Arizona MBDA services has been a tremendous benefit to us. Just the sometimes monthly and weekly and sometimes even daily communication back and forth. We feel extremely confident that we have a support function out there that is constantly supporting our business. And again, whether it's just in introductions, whether it's promoting our company to various clients and opportunities that exist in the Arizona MBDA, we know that they're always singing our praises and supporting us in every capacity, and we're honored to support them. And I think giving back is something not only that we feel is a tremendous responsibility, but it's something we really enjoy doing as well. Our success is in our people. I think we have key people that we've found and continue to find in the industry that enable us to be at the cutting edge of our industry. So I'd say keeping up to speed, having the best people in the industry, and we will continue to grow. We've gained market share from our competitors, but it's also the reliability on our company and being able to rest assured that we'll direct companies and some of their critical assets in the right direction.
Congratulations, Darren. Great job. And now to the 2022 Minority Business Enterprise of the Year, Zion Institute, led by Sean Pearson. This award recognizes a minority business enterprise that has exceeded industry standards and achieved phenomenal business success, leading to significant growth and job creation while showing a commitment to social responsibility and strong community involvement. Zion Institute is the well from which community development flows. Building from the inside out, the organization develops for-profit and non-profit social entities. With a unique approach to strategic planning and operational support, organizations build their capacity, enabling them to serve the community in a more meaningful way. Using the transformative powers of relationship, Zion Institute serves people with intent to break cycles of generational poverty. Their focus empowers the individual to advance in family and in life through community engagement, education, and economic resources.
Without MBDA, Zion absolutely would not be where we are. The resources that the agency has provided for us have been far beyond our expectations, number one, but far more impactful than what I imagined could happen in such a short amount of time. We have new financial systems, we have new leadership development, we have a whole new strategy for the business brand and marketing and how we scale that for a national position for the work that Zion is doing. And all of those are things that I imagine would be a 3 to 5 year time span before we got to that work. But in a very short time with the consultants that you all have provided for Zion, we've been able to do some really incredible things. And so I'm grateful for this relationship beyond what words can express. Absolutely. And then to have the award on top of that is just like icing on the cake for me. Basically, what we did was create a solution for a need that our community had. Used our collaborative relationships to establish contract opportunities with our state entities and other funders around those particular service needs, and launching, finding the people that love to live, work, worship, serve this particular community. It's the changing of lives. How many lives can we touch in a positive way, making that positive impact, but doing that collectively with our partners that are at the table with us.
Heartiest congratulations, Sean, on the phenomenal work you're doing for our community. This year, we have the honor of announcing the 2022 Champion of Minority Business Development, providing access to capital, Raza Development Fund, and the late Eric Salazar. The Access to Capital Award is presented to an individual or organization that has demonstrated outstanding leadership in the financial community by providing traditional and/or alternative working or investment capital to minority-owned businesses. The Arizona MBDA Business Center was privileged to work with Eric Salazar while he tirelessly worked to help our clients gain access to capital. Several loans were approved, and our clients could not be more grateful. The center honors Eric Salazar with this posthumous award. Thank you for all you did.
Eric Salazar. Gosh, when I think about Eric, I think about that amazing smile. I think about how his eyes would light up every time, he talked about his family, his wife Gabby, Erica, swimming, and the miracle baby Victoria. Oh, and how he smiled when he talked about his Cielo and Luna, his crazy little pups who just meant so much to him as well. Gosh, I think about a man who had a purpose and knew what that purpose was, and that purpose was to serve his community, to love the community, to help them grow and flourish. Gosh, how he loved the affiliates. You all should know that. He loved his Familia Unidos US, and he loved his RDF Familia too. Eric, you're amazing, and you will always, always be with us. You're with us here. You'll be with us forever because you are part of what RDF is. and that's a familia of servant leaders. You know, I can feel sad when I think about you, but I mostly feel happy and feel blessed. I love you, Eric. Always.
It is my great honor to have Eric's family here with us today. So I want to welcome Gabriela Salazar, Eric's wife, of course, his two daughters, Erica and Victoria as well. And for us, it has been an honor to work with your husband and your father. He was an amazing advocate for our small businesses. We did a program called Open for Business, where he led the charge to help small businesses grow and scale. So it's proper and fitting that we give him this award. And as far as Eric, I remember working with him, and I think people call themselves servant leaders all the time, but most of them lead before they serve. The beautiful thing about Eric is that he served before he led. And so, again, it is with great honor and pride that I award this Minority Business Development Agency Award to Eric Salazar, and thank you for accepting it on his behalf.
Thank you. Thank you for this award, to Eric's lifelong mission and passion to help others and their communities. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you so much again for being here with us. And I think Victoria had a lot to say, and we're so happy, and I think this is the best legacy that Eric could ever have. But thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
And now back to Alika.
Congratulations to all the award winners. And now the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and the Arizona MBDA Business Center are delighted to celebrate the 11th year of the $1 Million Circle of Excellence. Here is Monica Villalobos to tell us more about it.
Thank you so much, Alika, and congratulations to all of the MBDA awardees. Alika mentioned our $1 Million Circle of Excellence, but allow me to expand on our initiative. These companies have been exemplary business models and community supporters, spending more than $1 million in 1 year with diverse suppliers in Arizona. This initiative is modeled after a national best practice called the $1 Billion Roundtable, in which 24 companies that spend over $1 billion with diverse suppliers in the U.S. are recognized. Our threshold is a little lower, but the effort by these companies is exactly the definition of commitment to diversity. We are thankful for their support and contributions to the advancements in procurement. I do have a few more to mention today. However, before I do that, I want to make sure Victoria is still talking to us, so she's going to be a rock star. But before we do that, I want to introduce our wonderful panel today. We're going to talk to them a little bit more. We're going to have a wonderful conversation about a new study that we did. But in studio, we have with us Jim Rounds from Rounds Consulting, as well as Monica Ballesteros from Raza Development Fund. I do want to recognize at least a few more of our $1 Million Circle of Excellence inductees, and those include Hensel Phelps, Honeywell, Intel, Banachke Construction, Leighton, McCarthy, and Ryan. Congratulations to these inductees. You make us proud. We still have a few more to present to you, and we'll share that with you shortly. So last year, we added to our diversity portfolio by releasing our Diversity and Inclusion Best Practices White Paper. Our White Paper series includes publications on supplier diversity, employee resource groups, global trade, and economic indicators. In all of these, we have worked with subject matter experts in collaboration with our corporate partners to author best practices in the diversity space. Correcting years of systemic bias is not easy for any company, but it is absolutely necessary. Our hope is that this publication will provide a guide in the right direction. Today, you will gain access to all of our latest research, particularly the Minority Business Development Agency Center MBE report, and that's Minority Business Enterprises. There are actually 4 reports. In this study, we worked in collaboration with Glenn Iwata and his team at West Group Research to survey 1,950 small businesses in Arizona, Utah, and Nevada. And joining me today, as I mentioned earlier, are our subject matter experts. Again, welcome Jim Rounds and Monica Ballesteros. Thank you for being with me today.
Good to see you.
So I know we've all been poring over this report, right? And really trying to understand what those implications are. So we'll dive right in. I know the study in particular shared with us those different stages of the pandemic and what small businesses went through. You'll see that we have this report as well as the 4 reports for each state, but that specific information on the stages that each business went through was really important. I always say it's sort of like the stages of grieving, right? And being able to understand what these small businesses were going through is absolutely critical to making sure that they continue to do business. I think one of the things I was most impressed with in the report was the replenishment rate. So many businesses may have had, say, a restaurant, and that restaurant closed down, but they had a side business, or a chamba ladito, as I like to call it, a little side hustle. And in that side hustle was the catering company, so that replaced the main business, or a private label product, right? And that replaced the company. So that bounce back effect, I think, was very critical to the study. The other really important thing that we found were all of the different characteristics, and we compared minority-owned businesses with non-minority-owned businesses. And what we found is that the average annual revenue has actually increased substantially for minority-owned businesses to $279,000 a year in comparison to non-minority-owned businesses that is probably about $100,000 more. So that's a lot about the study. I know we've poured over it, as I said earlier, but I want to start with Jim. Jim, in terms of the economy, what are we seeing as a general impact from the pandemic on small businesses?
So first, I want to start with. You were talking about stages of grief. I feel like it's stages of opportunity now, because research that you've done, others have done, all of our friends that work in the community, we have that information. That what you have to do is marry up that information with what the business cycle looks like, and then you have to convey the information to help advance it. And so some of the statistics that we saw even years ago, the growth in income and growth in volume of the minority-owned businesses exceeded that of the population as a whole. But then we also saw issues related to access to capital. And so the good thing is that we have a group of individuals that were hit very hard during this economic downturn because it primarily impacted a lot of the service industry. We saw a lot of job losses in tourism. In fact, if you made less than $40,000 a year, you had about a 25% chance of losing your job. If you made $100,000 to $150,000 a year, you only had about a 5% chance of losing your job. And so it was a different downturn, and the fact that a lot of these businesses were able to survive is a testament to, one, their own willpower and wanting to be successful, but two, the extra community support, the information that was provided by the different organizations, some of the federal monies that came to help some of the businesses, but also just having that network. And as a small business owner, I appreciate the fact that if I needed a loan, I could go to a bank, but I appreciate more when I can go to some friends and say, how would you handle this issue? How would you handle this legal issue, this business development issue? So having that right network is so critical, and that's why I love the work that you all do. I love what Raza does. All this stuff is critical. No one group can turn everything around, but when you team up, you can.
Right, and collaboration really is the name of the game. But we are always so impressed with our entrepreneurs, and I always say, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be a little bit crazy, right? You have to have a little kind of distorted perception of reality to believe in yourself, to keep moving forward, and that's what motivates you, right? One of the things that we saw in the study is that 19% of minority-owned businesses implemented some sort of pivot strategy, right? Immediately they were able to pivot, and that was really critical to their success and to surviving the pandemic, whereas non-minority-owned businesses, it was significantly less. So thank you so much. Monica, let's talk a little bit about your work, what you do, and Rasa Development Fund. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Absolutely. Rasa Development Fund is a community development financial institution, which is basically a bank with a heart, to put it in terms that we can all understand. But our mission is bringing capital, access to capital, which is critical to these communities that are low income, and we are the largest Latino-focused CDFI. So the Latino communities are very much a priority to us. Over the pandemic, we tried to implement different strategies. First of all, when first the pandemic hit, we reached out to our partners, Wells Fargo. We had a grant from them to do small business lending, and we said, this isn't the right time for lending, and we quickly reached out to our partners, to our Unidos affiliates, like the Chamber, and said we need to act quickly. And within 2 to 3 weeks, we had actually grant money in small businesses' hands. We worked with 69 businesses, and you might think 69 businesses, that's not much, but they combined had a revenue in 2019 of $15 million. That is a big deal to these small communities. So it was the right time and the right investment. We also worked with PPP loans. We made that one of our priorities is that high touch value that we bring. We want to make sure that these small businesses that don't have the resources and the knowledge for technology to go through these applications, they don't quite understand, they're not as savvy. We were there to translate and to do the hand-holding to make sure that they were able to access these emergency resources. And then I'm super excited with what we've done with the Open for Business, which hand in hand with Monica, we've been able to implement that and have done over 20 small businesses loans here in Arizona. And again, another opportunity to partner and to put capital right into the hands of these small businesses.
Right, and we talked a little bit about that earlier when we were looking at sort of the way that we can help these small businesses. One of the findings from our MBE study was access to capital. That was true before the pandemic. It's certainly more true now, right? And so the fact that we were able to participate in the Open for Business program that provides loans from $25,000 to $100,000 at 3%, which is basically free money. You can't get 3% anywhere, right? And the terms are very understandable, but I think the underwriting to me was the part where you talked about we're a bank with a heart, right? Because you really focus on the character of the business owner, and you're able to look at more things than a traditional bank is, right? So we are so pleased with your work, and that's the work that Eric Salazar, of course, was heading up. But I can tell you that our business owners, we submitted 36 applications in June. That same month, 20 were funded. I mean, that kind of approval rate. And so we're really excited to be participating with all of you. Jim, you and I, we've worked together for a very long time. Our team really appreciates that you're able to take economics and make it friendly for us, right? And I know our audience loves that as well. You've worked with our studies. You understand this minority business owner from the number standpoint. And as I said, I'm always so excited to work with Brown's Consulting because they help us tell the story. And the story is a very positive story, right? Our narrative is that small businesses are doing really, really well. As both of you reflect on your work during the pandemic, what is it that small businesses can do differently to prepare themselves, hopefully not for the next pandemic, but certainly for the next economic downturn? What is that sort of from an economist standpoint, and then also from a lending standpoint, what can they do to better prepare?
Well, they're focused on their main business. We wouldn't expect somebody that's running a restaurant to be an expert in economics or politics or whatever, but that's why organizations like yours are so important to help get that information so they know what to expect. It could be in a newsletter, it could be a large event that's put on every month. There's a lot of different ways of communicating, and I feel like just having that little bit of extra information is very helpful. And so one example, there's a lot of discussions about whether or not we're in a recession right now and all these other complicated things. But the bigger story, I think, is we went through that last downturn, the COVID recession, and it really hit the blue collar workers. We have labor shortages. We're not going to see nearly as many job losses on the blue collar side. It's going to be a little bit more of a white collar type of a job loss recession. It'll probably be mild, which means you can have hope and get through it where you're not going to have the entire economy shut down. So as a business owner, what would you take from that? You would take, I'm probably still going to see people wanting to come back into the labor market, especially the blue collar workers that hopefully will get additional education training and move up the academic ladder and make more money and start businesses. So all this is tied to the broader economic discussion. But also, if it is going to be a mild recession, more like 2001, you might not have to borrow as much. You might not have to maybe change your business plan as much. But I was very impressed with how a lot of these businesses changed their business plan. You know, making the deliveries a little bit more accessible. And a lot of this stuff is really stuck. And some businesses have turned their primary business into that extra level of service that's now required. So it's going to be different than before, but I think just trying to have the basic information and joining organizations like yours, participating, and even though we're talking about individual projects, small business development, this is the foundation for people that go down to the Capitol each year and come up with ideas to maybe say, we need some legislation that's going to make it a little bit easier for small business loans to be distributed because this is currently impacting it, or we need to have them look at this additional information. So all these little things, again, it's the foundation. It's the individual bricks at the bottom that build to the bigger picture things that really help the businesses. So being a small business owner, sometimes you think, well, I'm having much of an impact. But when you add everybody up, like I said before, you can have an impact, and it helps to be very vocal. Sometimes you can be nice, but you have to be loud sometimes too.
Right, no, absolutely. And I know we were working with Rasa Development Fund, and you're absolutely right. What we found during the pandemic is it was those little things. So a good example is how businesses are structured, right? So when the PPP dollars came out, there were two big problems with the distribution in the first round. And I do want to note that it was corrected in the second round, but for the first round of PPP, a lot of these businesses, because that was the payroll protection plan, a lot of these businesses were structured as LLCs, which means they didn't have W-2s. They couldn't participate in that. And that's a simple thing, right? You don't think about, am I an S Corp? Am I an LLC? I'm a small business owner, right? But that really impacted their ability to participate in that program. The other issue was that the government, very quickly deployed funds out to banks, but they didn't change any of the regulations for banks. They sort of played hot potato with this money, right? And said, hey, let's lend this money. We got to get it out there. The bank should be able to deploy it. And the banks did exactly what they were supposed to do. They lent the money, or they gave those loans to people they knew and that they did business with. Unfortunately, that wasn't our community. And I think that's where the CDFIs came in, and we worked on, I know you all had the Hope Fund, we had the Success Grants, and we were turning these micro grants of $1,000 a week in like 48 hours. And that helped businesses stay in business and gave them a little bit of a buffer and time to pivot their strategy. So as you look, Monica, at different small businesses, and from a lender standpoint, what are those things that you would recommend to small businesses?
I think, as Jim said, this is a stage of opportunity for all of us. So how can we quickly learn and implement things that are going to set us up for success in the future? So I think immediately looking at developing financial intelligence. How can I, as a person, start separating my personal financial stuff from my business structure? How can I get tools to help me manage this? Because obviously these amazing small business owners are experts in the kitchen, in the crafting, in the service providing. But if they're not experts in managing their business and having sound business practices, reach out to the chamber. Can they purchase an application to help them run this? How can they quickly implement technology to make their lives easier and set them up for success? So that would be number one, absolutely. And I think also educating yourself on what credit is. I think most of us in the Latino community come from countries where owing is a bad thing. It's like, ay, no, yo no quiero deber, eso es algo malo. How can we turn that around to be a tool, again, that makes us be more successful? How can capital be leveraged? Am I ready for an expansion? Do I want to add, delivery? Do I want to add an online component? All those things, and how can I do that with borrowed credit in a smart and financially stable way?
Yeah, no, I think you've really outlined for us what it is that small businesses need to do. And I think a lot of lenders, large banks, one of the things we've been talking to them about is providing some sort of graduation strategy that comes with a decline, right? And so what will happen traditionally is if someone is declined for a loan, as Latinos will be like, de mejores partes me han botado, right? I've been thrown out of much better places. So you lose that customer. You don't have that loyalty with them. And so I think it's so important that people realize we need to give people a no, not yet versus just a flat no. And that's critical because we know that these businesses are growing 3 to 4 times faster than non-minority owned businesses. And Jim, you've seen all of our data on that as well. How important are these businesses to the economy? Like, is there a, but for them, XYZ would happen, or, kind of a worst case scenario?
It's a big deal, and people have to remember, we'll talk about Taiwan Semiconductor coming into the North Phoenix area, but that creates a demand for other jobs as well. And so you don't necessarily have to be an engineer in semiconductors to benefit from that cycle. So we need to also supply housing. We have to supply the labor in the service industry. We have to supply the labor in those businesses that help the company directly. And we see a lot of these small businesses, and a lot of them are owned by women minorities. They're the ones that help these other things happen. And so oftentimes the focus is on, let's recruit the big business, but how can we make sure that we're supplying the other labor that's necessary? What are we doing on the education side? What are we doing on the encouragement to have these small businesses or those entrepreneurs want to start a business? I remember that we were using a particular plumbing company, but I requested the same person because he was just fantastic. Hispanic guy, nicest person you could complete expert. And I was chatting with him, and I said, you're so good, why don't you start your own business? And he said, it's just too difficult because people are going to look at me and they're going to say, well, he might be a little bit more of a risk just right off the bat, which is wrong. And then he said, it costs a lot to buy the van that you're looking at now, but I also have to buy all the tools. It's very difficult. When I go to a bank and I've talked to people about it, they're not very receptive. Well, wouldn't it be great, and I actually was considering financing this individual, and then he ended up deciding to do something different. But wouldn't it be great, though, if these individuals could have some support and go in with their own individual prospectus for their business and say, take a look at this. This is why I'm a good bet. Please read this. I made an appointment for next Wednesday. I'm going to be back, and I'm going to look forward to talking with you about how my business is going to be a great bet for your bank. But how do we get to that point? We have to spend money in some cases. But when we do that, the return on investment, whether it's public money or private money, when it's increasing educational attainment, when it's increasing the business development, making businesses more efficient, it's always higher than a 1-to-1 ROI. So it's profitable. You're actually creating extra money for taxpayers by creating these programs. So how can we take these common sense issues and translate them into some broader, like I said, legislative ideas at the Capitol? Because so much legislation is based on, well, half of it is based on common sense. The other half is based on
who knows what?
Other things. But on the common sense items, why can't we start to say these 5 items were a problem that can be fixed?
Right.
Let's try to fix it. Let's get the right people in the room. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that talk a good game, but not as many people take action. And we need more people of action in this area in Arizona.
Right. And that's one of the reasons that we're so proud to partner with both of your organizations, because it is about action. It's what's that next step? How do we get there? And oftentimes the data helps us and acts as that, almost that crystal ball, right? To tell us, here's where we know we're going to end up. What can we do to make that road a little smoother, right? So again, I want to thank both of you so much for being on this show with us. We have large companies and small companies in our audience. We have community partners. And I think the one thing we learned from the pandemic was that collaboration has to be the name of the game, right? We all have to work together because we need each other, and frankly, we're stronger together. And so we are so happy to work with both of you. Thank you for your time, your energy, and all of your work in our community.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise, thank you.
And now for our final $1 Million Circle of Excellence inductees, which include SRP, Southwest Gas, SUNT, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and Walmart. Thank you to all of our $1 Million Circle of Excellence winners and inductees for putting your money where your mouth is. We really appreciate that, and you're part of our collaboration, so we want to congratulate you on that. We also want to invite you to keep an eye out for Datos, the State of Arizona's Hispanic Market event. It will be at the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce's annual conference, held right here in Phoenix at the downtown Sheraton from October 2nd to the 4th. Save the date for October 3rd and go to azhcc.com. As we end, please think about our future leaders. The Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has a scholarship fund specifically for Hispanic university students in Arizona. We appreciate your generosity. Please look for our Donate Now link in the YouTube chat box. On behalf of the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank you for joining us today, and once again, thank all of our sponsors for this event, including our title sponsor, Raza Development Fund, and also we want to thank all of those who helped us with this production, Eric Sperling and his team at Social Television Network, as well as Judy Yates, both incredible firms that had helped us deliver. And finally, our team. Of course, I get the luxury of being here with you, but it takes a team of incredible professionals to get this information to you. So again, thank you all for your help. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time.